Hey, y'all, it's Erica, and welcome to Front Porch Fantasy. This is the #1 sports show that weaves in betting, fantasy, pop culture, and entertainment. But guys, here's the catch. We have the most top-tier guest from across a variety of industries. Now, at Front Porch Fantasy, we're going to make sure that our experts give you the inside scoop on how they're setting their fantasy lineups. I'm going to make sure you have all the responsible gambling tips because, as we all know, there's a huge crossover between fantasy and sports gambling. And most importantly, we're just going to have fun. We're going to keep it cute. So go ahead, y'all, and pull up. Welcome to my porch. Okay, again, I am Erica Renee Davis. If you don't know me, then you totally should because we're going to fix that. I am a sports betting journalist. You've seen me on NASCAR. You've seen me on Fox LA. You've seen me on Spectrum LA. Now you see me here on Fantasy Sports Advice Network. I am a diehard dog, as in the University of Georgia. Go Dogs, sick 'em because there is no other dog. And something about me, I am low-key afraid of heights, but more on that later. Here is what I am on about this week. Baltimore, we have a problem. After starting the year off at or near the top of the Super Bowl odds board, the Ravens are 1-4. Lamar Jackson is injured, and you got Derrick Henry's Offensive Player of the Year odds plummeting by the day. But guys, I am personally invested in this because as a University of Georgia dog and alum, they got our old offensive coordinator, Todd Monken. So Ravens, y'all listen to this. Go ahead and fire him and send his ass packing back to Athens. We would appreciate that a lot. And then Kansas City, are they real or are they fake, especially after losing Monday Night Football to the Jaguars? Well, if you ask odds makers, they think that they are real. Looking at the Week 6 line, the Lions are 2.5-point underdogs against Kansas City. Y'all, this is the Detroit team that is 4-1 against the spread and one of the best teams in the league. I vote no to that line. I'm backing the Lions. And then finally, let's take it back to school. James Franklin, Arch Manning. Guys, I don't see how James Franklin survives another season at Penn State if he doesn't win out. With games against Indiana, games against Ohio State, I don't see that he does. And then Front Porch fam, let's just all say a prayer for Sarkisian at Texas because how hard must it be for him to continue carrying the water for the failed experiment that is Arch Manning with the Longhorns? But enough about me. We're going to introduce our guest, Will Hill. Let's see, Will, are you in the building with us today?
What's going on? I'm happy to be here. Fun time of the year. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so guys, Will is a contributor on the Bear Bets podcast at Fox Sports. He's been covering sports gambling for more than a decade. He's a sports betting analyst, and you've seen him on VSI. Is it VSIN or VSIN? I always forget.
Yeah, either one. VSIN, VSIN. It stands for Vegas Stats and Information Network, located out of Las Vegas. So happy to contribute with them. I got my own podcast called Should Have Bet More. So now I'm here with you. Excited to talk some ball.
Well, let's talk about your own podcast because I want to know more about that because we want to make sure all the guests go and look at your stuff on your own podcast as well.
Yeah, 3 times a week. It drops Monday, Wednesday, Friday, talking betting, talking sports, just talking about the topical things of the week. Friday we'll do NFL picks. I'm sure on the Wednesday episode, we'll either be reacting to the Yankees forcing a Game 4 in the Major League Baseball playoffs or talking about their offseason because they will have been swept and eliminated. So it's whatever's hot at the time, football, college football, baseball. We kind of do all the 3 major sports and have a good time with it.
Now, okay, so Will, here at Front Porch Fantasy, we talk about fantasy and talk about sports betting. I want to know about your life as a sports betting journalist, how you got started. Let's just start there because we got a lot to dive into when it comes to your career.
Yeah, it started during COVID as like a lot of people had a lot of time on my hands. I always wanted to get in the sports industry. Started writing some stuff about the upcoming NFL season and games I thought were interesting and projecting the lines. I sent it to VSiN, who they had a weekly kind of news magazine at the time or kind of a newsletter. They published it. And again, it's a time when no sports going on. They were looking for content. They say, hey, why don't you come on a show next Saturday? And one thing led to a next. And here I am. Eventually started working for Fox a couple years later. So yeah, one thing just kind of led to another. And it's been a great ride.
Now, people always ask me how I decide what I'm wagering on. And I got to be totally honest. I'm not one of those people who has all these different statistical models and 10 different computers. That's not my method. Is that your method? How do you decide what you're going to bet on each week?
It's a great question. I mean, I've been doing this long enough now where you look at something and it just, a number seems off to you, or a number seems bettable, or that should be that shouldn't be that high, or that shouldn't be that low, or that point spread seems too high. It's really, I don't want to say it's just a gut feel because there are a lot of numbers going into it, but it's probably a fair to say it's a combination of the both: numbers, gut, and just watching a lot of sports, reading a lot of sports, listening to a lot of content, and just probably a compilation of all those things.
Do you track your bets? And if you don't, why not? And if you do, where and how do you track them?
I do. I use a Excel. I use a spreadsheet just because I think it's important to know. We all have biases that we can't see or feel or don't know about, where you might think you're really good or think you're really bad, but the numbers don't lie. And that stat sheet, it's kind of like your batting average. As a baseball player, I might think I'm a good hitter. I might think I'm good at this. Well, what do the numbers say? And especially, it lets you focus on not only are you good at bad, but what are you good on? What do you bet on? I might be betting too much NFL in terms of the size. I should be betting more baseball, things like that. So I think, in football, they call it self-scouting, and really in all these self-scouting, where do a scouting report on yourself. What are you winning on? What are you losing on? I'm sure if most people did an autopsy, took a little inventory of what they were betting on, I'm sure just the average bettor would say probably betting too many parlays, too many same game parlays, where it looks good to get that 15, 20 to 1, 30 to 1 payout, but how many are you hitting? How many are you losing? And that's stuff where you have that data, and it's good to know, what exactly you're doing well and what you're not.
I'm going to have to ping you on the side later on, because my Excel spreadsheet, for some reason, maybe it's because I'm not an Excel girly, I'm not a spreadsheet girly, but for some reason my profits do not always calculate. So I find myself going back in and having to manually calculate my profits. But that's getting way into the weeds. We'll get to that later. If you are starting off in fantasy or in sports betting, 3 tips that you would have for beginners.
The one you just mentioned, tracking your stuff, even if you're not betting for real at some point, just, start small, start with maybe practice, even if you're betting $1, $5, enough where it's something to keep you interested, even if you're just betting lunch money or, whatever it is to keep you interested. I have friends who say they'll bet every over-under season win total for a football team, even if it's a small amount of money, just to follow that team, and they gain that information. Even if they lose the bet, you're learning so much about that team by just following them. So, if you love it, it's not going to seem like work, but just watch as much as you can, read as much as you can, learn as much as you can. That would be the first one. What you mentioned about tracking your stuff, tracking your bets, I think that would be a good one. And just be honest with yourself too. Of some people, they lose a bet and it was the refs or it was this or that. Where sometimes there's part of that, but you'll talk to some people who they never lost a bet where it was their fault. They always think it was the refs or it was bad luck. Where you got to have a little bit of an ability to be honest with yourself and reflect and reflect honestly, where, all right, I didn't see that game properly. I had a bad read on that game. Things like that, I do think make you better.
Wait, Will, where are you from originally?
Connecticut.
Do you have an allegiance to a college team?
I don't, which is, I think, a good thing to help keep you neutral. And I can just kind of jump in on futures and things I like, but no, I just that's one sport where I am just strictly a fan. NFL, I somehow became a Vikings fan when I was a kid. When I was a kid, this is funny. People always make fun of me because I have random teams, and they say I'm a front runner, which I'm not. I'm a Lakers, Vikings, and Yankees fan. I'm a Yankees fan because I went to the games as a kid. My dad had season tickets. Our family had season tickets. The other ones, I just like the purple and yellow, and I still got purple and yellow all over the place here. Lakers was a good decision. The Vikings was not such a good decision.
Wait. Okay, so 2 things. I'm a Clippers fan, so we might have to end this stream early because, oh my God. But no, the second thing, I do want you to explain to people what futures are, because again, I know we have a huge fantasy audience, but just quickly explain what that means in the sports betting world.
Future can be just anything that's to win the title, to win the conference title, to win the MVP. I guess that's technically award, but anything, not like the Yankees are playing the Blue Jays. That's not a future. Like the Yankees to win the World Series is a future. The Blue Jays to win the World Series. So anything that revolves around something that's going to happen in the future regarding the sport, to win a division title, a conference title, a World Series, things like that.
Okay, so most memorable moments from your sports betting career. It could be a big bet that you made that cashed in, the most amount of money you've won, the most amount of money you lost. Let's hear it. Let's hear it, Will.
I'll go with a recent one. I'll go. I had Max Fried 35-1 to lead the league in wins in Major League Baseball this year, and it got home. He was a couple wins behind in September, but he won his last, I think, 6 starts. His 6 decisions all went his way. So that was a good one. That's recent. I should probably give you a bad one too. I'll stay recent too. I'll give you a couple. I went on the night of the NBA draft. I went on my podcast and said, I love what the Charlotte Hornets did in the draft. They got Con Knippel. They got Liam McNeely. They got, who's the other kid from Creighton? Kalkbrenner. I said, I love what they did in the draft, but I didn't think of a bet to make with them. A couple weeks later, and this was the perfect way to bet it, they won the Summer League. They were 150-1 odds. That was the perfect way to play it. Not that I'm still bitter all these months later, but that was the perfect way to play it because all those rookies were going to play. They all played in college. That was the way to attack it because, if I liked their draft and I thought they were adding all this young talent, it was going to show in the Summer League. So that's one where, man, as the NBA season's a couple weeks away, it is hard to believe. The NBA, the NHL, these sports are just getting started. NHL underway, NBA not that far away. It's hard. These winter sports come so quickly, but that is one. Not betting on the Hornets to win the Summer League that I still just every time I see them, I'm going to regret that for a little bit.
But you know what, Will? Like, Summer League is such a difficult sport. Yeah. It's so hard to wager on that because we never know. We just never know what the coaches are scheming for. We never know who the breakout player is going to be. So even though you had that foresight, we're not going to give you such a hard time about not taking that. But we'll just let you beat yourself up about that. Okay, sure. Let's talk a little bit of fantasy. How many fantasy football leagues are you in currently, and how well or how badly are you doing?
Just one. I usually do 2. I don't want to spread myself too thin, and just betting all the time. Work, like, life gets in the way. I can't just be one of these guys with 3, 4, 5, 6 teams. I thought 2 was plenty. One this year, I couldn't do it because work got in the way, and I couldn't do the draft, and it was a live in-person draft. And the other one, I had to last second, somebody called out sick. I had to work during the other one. So I'm like doing the draft and working. So I'm a little bit divided this year. I would say anything more than 2, it gets tough because you don't want to be in a situation where, well, I need this guy for one team, but I'm playing against him in another league. You end up, fantasy is supposed to be fun. And it takes the fun out of it. You're sitting there 5 or 6 teams and you're rooting against one guy for one team, but he's on your other team. It just divides your rooting interest. It makes it hard to track, hard to follow. So I felt like 2 is the perfect number. This year, unfortunately, I'm only doing 1. What am I? I'm 2 and 3 in my league. I've done okay in terms of the points, but I got a lot of work. So it's hard to find running backs. I've noticed that it's hard to find running backs. I'm stacked at receiver. Very hard to find these backs. And then every person I text trying to trade for a running back, they say, no, I need a running back. Receivers are a dime a dozen. We need these running backs. I tried to trade for Hampton this past week, and he got hurt the week after, so that was a blessing in disguise. But hard to find these backs.
Well, I have a Marion, I think, on one of my leagues. So I feel your pain on the difficulty in finding your running backs. And sometimes, like, my leagues, I've had like not the best experience with wide receivers either. But that could be because I have not paid enough attention to like the waiver wire and the trade deadline days. Like, I'm the worst. I had a hit on Fox 11 a few weeks ago for NFL kickoff, and literally as we're going live on air, I'm like, shit, I forgot to set my rosters. So in the same boat as you. So if you guys are watching us out there, follow our betting advice, maybe kind of low key, like put our fantasy advice on the second burner, on the burner that you don't use. Okay, let's talk about who are we fading, Will, and who are we fanning out over? This could be betting. This could be fantasy. I'm going to throw some names out there. Are you fading this player? Are you fading this team? Are you fangirling, or in my case, or are you going to be a fan of this particular player or team? Josh Allen, are we fading him? Are we fanning out over Josh Allen?
I still think you have to fan out. I know they lost the game Sunday, but to me, it's hard to say he's the best player because Mahomes is Mahomes and all the Super Bowls and everything he's done. But everything Allen provides is a runner and a passer. He's probably on track to win another MVP. The betting market certainly thinks he's in good shape to win another MVP. So I can't fade him. You always worry with a running quarterback, especially somebody that physical, that he's going to get banged up. But that's the thing with him too. He's not just really good. he's durable. He never misses games. So I'm pro Allen. I'll go with Fanning.
So would you take a few dollars on Josh Allen's MVP market right now, or would you wait until and buy the dip? Or is there going to be a dip?
It's basically bet $1 to win $1. And we're sitting here. I mean, it's the first week of October, and there's so much season to go. So many things can happen. He won it last year, which I think hurts you because these voters don't like to give it to people back to back. They look for what's hot, what's new, what's the better story. I thought that's why he won it over Lamar Jackson last year, because Lamar had won it already. And it was kind of like, all right, now it's Allen's turn. I think he's the rightful favorite to win it. But in terms of like a betting value, sitting here in October making a bet that wouldn't cash until February, I just don't think it's worth it at this point. But he's probably in good shape to win.
Okay, so from a fantasy perspective, he's one of my quarterbacks. And again, I've only played fantasy football a few times, probably 5 or 6 times in my life. So I consider that to still be like beginner level. And I drafted him first in one of my leagues. And I could feel the judgment of people looking at me for drafting a quarterback first. But he's done me good. So I'm also fanning out over Josh Allen. Okay, the next player in the next team, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, which you already kind of touched on, but let's talk about him. Are we fading him? Are we fanning out over him, especially after that Monday Night Football loss in Jacksonville?
Fanning. I know they haven't looked the same in the last year or so offensively. I think that he's got a lot of speed around him with Xavier Worthy back. Rashee Rice is coming back soon. They have Hollywood Brown. They have this kid Thornton. They look faster than they've looked in recent years. Mahomes can still throw the ball. Mahomes is actually running more than he has in past years. I think he already has 3 or 4 rushing touchdowns. He had a big night running Monday night against Jacksonville. Mahomes is going to be fine. Mahomes is one of the safest bets in sports. Fanning.
But is he running more because he might not trust his offensive weapons as much? Like, let's break down why he might be running for his life more now than
there's
he used
probably
to.
something to that. There's probably something to that it's just a safe option. I mean, these quarterback runs are hard to stop. I mean, think about all the things the defense has to worry about. This guy going deep, this guy underneath. When the quarterback can look around and there's no pressure and he can just kind of tuck it and run for 6 or 7 yards, those runs are very hard to stop. So I think it's probably a little bit of both of what you mentioned of not trusting his guys around him and just betting on himself. All right, I can tuck it and run and get 7 or 8.
Right. Well, I'm gonna fade Patrick Mahomes at least in Week 6 against the Lions. I know the odds makers have the Chiefs as 2.5-point favorites, but this is my declaration that I'm going to fade the Chiefs and back the Lions. Dak Prescott, Cowboys to make the playoffs. Side note, I took Dak Prescott in one of my futures props leagues, the fantasy football leagues. I took him as the comeback player of the year. And thank you, Will. And I'm feeling really, really good about that now. So now that we're heading into Week 6, are you fading Dak and the Cowboys without Micah? Or are you going to fan out over him now that they had that huge win in Week 5? I want to hear your thoughts.
Dak has played great, and it's a quarterback league, and the quarterback's the most important position. And when you're getting quarterback play like the Cowboys are getting out of Dak, you're going to be in every game. You can beat anybody. I think he's been unfairly hated on for years. The fact that they don't win in the playoffs, all these shows talk about the Cowboys much, so people just – I think get tired of hearing about the Cowboys and Prescott, and you throw in the fact they haven't won in the playoffs. People, oh, Dak stinks. Dak's no good. Dak's really good. Now, is he one of like the 2 or 3 best quarterbacks? No, but I don't know, somewhere between 5th and 8th. Dak is a really good quarterback. As far as making the playoffs, I wouldn't be shocked, but let's just kind of go through the teams here. Green Bay and Detroit probably get in. That's 2. I'll say Philly and Washington get in. That's 4. Tampa wins the South. That's 5. Somebody's got to win the NFC West. That's 6. Let's just say San Francisco wins it as 6. Now you got 1 spot left. The Rams, the Seahawks, the Vikings, maybe Atlanta, the Cowboys. So they could be in the mix for that 7th spot. But I think you start to run out of teams pretty quickly if you just go Detroit and Green Bay, Philly and Washington, NFC South winner, NFC West winner. It starts to get pretty crowded pretty quickly for that 7th team. But hey, he's playing extremely well.
So we're going to say fan out over Dak, but fade the Cowboys' chances to make the playoffs. That's what we're saying?
I think so.
Okay, I'm not mad at that. Okay, James Cook, my dog, the University of Georgia. I remember reading all the hate on Twitter/X about how he was not going to be a serviceable running back in fantasy. And dude, I have no complaints about James Cook. So from a betting perspective and or from a fantasy perspective, how do you feel about James Cook and his productivity this year so far?
Yeah, younger brother of my guy Dalvin Cook, former Viking, who boy, it's amazing how quickly these running backs just come and go. Dalvin Cook one day is like one of the best running backs in the league, and you blink, these guys are out of the league. These running backs don't last very long in the NFL. It's such a violent position, and it's such a position where you need speed. I'm in on Cook. I would say fanning over Cook. I know I'm being positive on all these guys, but he's the lead back on one of the best offenses in the league. I know Allen's going to take some of that attention, and Allen's going to steal some of those touchdowns, but can't go wrong with Cook. I think he's been pretty good.
Now, what about the elephant in the room with Rodgers, Tomlin, and the Steelers? I feel like since training camp or since the beginning of the season or since after preseason, I don't think that Rodgers and Tomlin and the Steelers have been at the forefront of the media circus as much as they were over the summer, which probably is a great thing for Tomlin, especially considering he's used to making the playoffs, and it's probably a great thing for all the masses who are sick of hearing about Aaron Rodgers. But with all that in mind, what do you think Aaron Rodgers and Tomlin's and the Steelers' chances are at making another playoff run? Does Mike Tomlin keep his record alive?
I think so. I think if you look at the division, how it's broken, I don't know that anybody had a better weekend than the Steelers. The Bengals lost, the Browns lost, the Ravens lost. So the Steelers had a bye and they gained ground on everybody. If you look, the Bengals and the Browns probably not winning that division. The Ravens are 1-4, and the Ravens play the Rams this coming week. And I don't think Lamar Jackson's going to be back. If they're 1-5 in the NFL, it's just about a death sentence.
That's it.
Got to go 9-2 to get to 10 wins. So I think, look, the Steelers are going to do what they always do, find their way to 9-10 wins. It's been a long time since they won a playoff game, so they get a lot of credit for, hey, we make the playoffs, we're over 500. 2016 season was the last time they won a playoff game. Maybe that streak breaks this year, but I think the Steelers will be back in the playoffs. I think they win that division.
Now, listen, not to be messy, but is Lamar Jackson really injured?
I think so.
You think
I
so?
think, yeah. Why you think he's?
I mean, okay, listen, that game when he hurt his hamstring, let's take a step back. I am a Lamar Jackson fan. Like, I ride with Lamar Jackson, been riding with him since his Louisville days, die hard. I was, on Twitter back in the day, fighting everybody who was like, oh, he should be a tight end. I was definitely Team Lamar. But I just wonder if there's something going on in the organization that has morale low, that when morale is low, you're like, oh, I'm injured, but am I really injured? Can I milk this injury for more than it's worth to give myself a second to take an emotional step back? I'm, being like super psychodynamic, like psychoanalysis here. But I don't know. I feel like Lamar is the player who plays through everything all the time. And I don't feel like I've ever seen this Lamar. Looking too far into it?
Yeah, I mean, I think the week before he got hurt, if you go back and look, I didn't notice it at the time, but he got sacked a bunch of times that Monday night game against the Lions. And I remember watching and saying, that's weird. He couldn't get away from that guy. He couldn't get around that guy. He got sacked, I don't know, 6 or 7 times, which you never see him get cornered like that. So I think he's so relying on his speed that if the hamstrings bother him a little bit and he doesn't have that burst, that gear, then it's probably safest to sit out. So they have a bye next week. They play the Rams this week, bye next week. I think you'll probably just see him sit out. If he sits out this week, takes off the bye, that'll give him almost a month to heal.
Yeah.
And then even at 1-5, you come back and say, all right, let's try to string together a bunch of wins and get back into it. I mean, I guess it's not impossible, but it is asking a lot.
Well, I will put out this ask one more time. Ravens, if you're listening, please let go of Todd Monken and send him back to Athens. I know I made the ask at the top of the show, but we would love that. We would love that in Athens. Okay, finally, Shedeur Sanders. I mean, we probably don't have enough time in the day to talk about this, but are we fading him? Are we fanning out over him? And now that there's some movement, thoughts, concerns?
Fading. I thought that, what was it, a pantomime he did last night? I thought that was super weird. I mean, if you're looking to silence the critics and silence people, say, oh, you had a bad draft process, you're a problem in the locker room, why would you come out and do something? That was just very bizarre, if nothing else. I mean, I guess it was harmless, but it was just strange. Gabriel, I thought Sanders played well in the preseason. I thought he'd have a chance to play, and maybe he still does. I don't think Gabriel is like a legitimate long-term NFL starter, but he played better than I thought on Sunday. So I'm fading Shedeur. I don't think you can be a distraction as a backup quarterback, and I don't know. That was just strange last week, wasn't it?
No, it was very strange, and I think that I'm trying to rationalize it and understand it from, I guess what is he, Gen Z? I think that's what that generation is. I'm trying to understand it from maybe a Gen Z perspective, because I'm trying not to be like the millennial that I am. I can't help it, because the millennial in me is like, what in the hell were you thinking? But then the softer side of me is like, okay, maybe this is something that the kids do. Maybe this is, I don't know. I can't quite rationalize it either. You would think that coming from the pedigree that he comes from,
Right.
he's had enough media training, enough access to the lights, the camera, the action, to like know that something like that is not harmless. Like, yeah.
And it's so easy to win over the media. It's just so easy to say, you know what, when my time is called, I'll be ready. It's the coach's decision. I respect that, and I'll be ready when I get a chance. I mean, it's just that kills it. You just kill them with boredom. You give the company line, even if you don't mean it, even if inside you're going, how the hell is this guy playing over me? You just bite your lip and say, hey, when they give me a chance, I'll be ready to go. I'm going to keep working hard and try to help the team any way I can. I mean, it's really, really easy. It just, I don't know. It was odd. I'm with you.
Okay, so give us some inside scoop. Players that we haven't named, coaches that we haven't named, teams that we haven't talked about that you are really high on or you're really low on.
Oh, do we have to talk about DeMarcado dropping the ball at the 1 yard line? What the hell was that? Speaking of an age gap and Gen Z and millennials, I mean, what goes into these guys' head where I'm breaking free, I'm scoring a touchdown in the NFL, a league where they pay me millions, I'm on TV, but I got to drop the ball as soon as I cross the goal line because that'll look cool. That's one. I don't know if it's an age gap, but these coaches, and then the coach for Arizona, Gannon, I guess was hard on him after the game. I haven't seen the sequence. And then Gannon apologized after the game, said I shouldn't have been so hard on him. Like, what? Maybe I'm old, but man, I can't picture Bill Parcells or Nick Saban or some of these old school coaches having a player do that, and then you end up apologizing to him again. Maybe I'm just old. I don't know.
Yeah, Nick Saban would have fought his ass on the side on the sideline. I will kind of play devil's advocate here. Depending on what angle you watch, it was really close, Will. It looks like he had crossed the line depending on what angle you watch. Because if the objective is just to break the plane, again, depending on the angle, some angles to me look like, oh, I kind of see. No, am I being delusional here?
I think as crazy as it sounds, these teams have to practice scoring touchdowns where you run all the way until the end zone with the ball and just don't give it up. Just walk back to the sideline with it. This way there's no, well, it was close. I'm with you. It was very close. And if he didn't score, it was by a fraction. But why take the chance? Hold on to that thing. Just run around with it until they rip it out of your hands. It drives you crazy. And we bet on this stuff. Fantasy leagues decide on that. I mean, I couldn't believe that when I saw that.
Give me another player that you're fading.
Player that I'm fading. Let me see here. I'll give you a positive one. Rattler for the Saints has been better than I thought. He's actually shown me something. I'm trying to think of a positive, negative. Justin Fields, I had higher hopes for. I thought in college, I know Ohio State has this reputation of, they never have quarterbacks that produce the NFL. I thought he was going to be different. I remember some of those games in the playoff against Clemson, and he just threw the ball well. He looked like an NFL quarterback, and I don't know if it's the Jets, it's him. It's just, it doesn't work. He's a good runner, but he's just not a good passer. So I'm down on Fields. I'm selling Fields.
Okay. So obviously, I have an emotional attachment to Justin with, his little short stint at Georgia, even though we kind of effed over his collegiate career, but that's neither here nor there. Could Justin end up having the Baker Mayfield / Sam Darnold, second character arc in his career, or has he already had an opportunity to have it? Have we missed that boat for him?
That's a great question, because I would say no, but I would have said no probably about Baker Mayfield when he was getting cut. What did he get cut by the Panthers? And he had that weird stint with the Rams and Darnold bounce around. So I would say no, but I would have been proven before. Which it's nice to see. It's the more good quarterbacks, the better. It's cool to see these guys get a second, third chance and make the most of it. So even though I don't think so, I'm rooting for him.
Okay. Same here. Kids say samesies. I think that's what they.
Yes.
So really quickly, let's go. Currently, who do you kind of hate on your roster? Are there any moves that you plan on making this week? Or are you just kind of like, I'm so busy, I can't even really give it real attention? That's a fair answer too, because I feel that.
I went the opposite approach with you. I said I'll wait on a quarterback, and I ended up with Kyler Murray, and it's just not working out. I tried to do this thing where I'm going to pick up somebody each week and just kind of piece it together, but everyone gets scooped up. The Daniel Jones and all these guys, you end up going through your options of who to pick up, and it's like, do I really want to pick up Tua? Do I really want to play Bo Nix? There's kind of a drop off. So I think next year going to have to put a little more emphasis on the quarterback position.
The prior week. And it doesn't, is there something that you want to like beat your chest about from last week's games or the past couple of weeks?
I like I got Ibaka, the Tampa wide receiver, the rookie, who's absolutely tremendous. I have him on on my team, so that's one where I'm actually proud of. And I think he's got a good shot to win Rookie of the Year. There's really no quarterback running away with it. Dart's been okay, Ward's been okay, but not great. Genty's been a little bit of a disappointment. So I think Ibaka's got a good chance here to be the Rookie of the Year.
To that point, I was looking at his odds earlier in that, and he is at least at one book minus 110, and then Ashton is next at like plus 350, plus 450. So currently, he's the heavy favorite. I mean, as we know, the odds can tell the story, and the odds can also swing drastically in the opposite direction depending on what happens. So, I guess if you like him, maybe wait to see if those odds kind of lengthen a little bit, because right now he is the very, very heavy favorite. Okay. Almost wrapping up here, Will, but we got to talk some pop culture. Let's hear your thoughts on Tay-Tay. Are you into Taylor Swift?
I like her older music. I like a lot of her older songs. I did not hear any of her newer album, but we went over the show before, and I did a little research, and I had to sample some of her newer stuff. And I would say, to put it in betting terms, her older music is like minus 300, minus 400 over her newer stuff. Again, it's not hate, just personal taste. Maybe it's because I'm more familiar with the songs. I like her older stuff more than the new stuff. I would say out of the new songs, Wood, I think, is the name of the song. That's not bad. That's a little catchy, but I don't know. I like the older stuff better. The older stuff's a little more catchy.
Now, Will, I gotta let you know. Do you know what Wood is about?
I don't. I'm just listening to it, just sampling about it, or just sampling it. Some of the lyrics, a little. I don't know. Maybe our girl Taylor here is a little grown up, and it's more. I don't know. It's not as innocent. So what is it about? Why don't you just tell me?
So what the streets are saying. The streets are saying that Wood is about Travis Kelce's manhood.
Okay.
So Taylor has definitely grown up on us. She said, I got my man. Let me write a whole song about what's in his pants.
I might have to change my answer now, because I don't know. It's a catchy song. I didn't really pay attention to the lyrics. It's a catchy song, but I did notice some of the lyrics a little off brand for Taylor.
Okay. Now, okay. Really quickly, I'm just going to challenge you this on a quick note. Off brand, or is she coming more into her womanhood? Is she coming more into, her more comfortability about being a sexual icon? She's global, she's pop, but now she's like, I got a man. I can sing about what grown women do.
Different version of her, just like we mentioned Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield growing up into being better quarterbacks. Taylor Swift growing up into being a different version of Taylor Swift.
I love it. Okay, so now Travis Kelce, on the football side of the Taylor Swift Travis Kelce conversation, do you think that Travis Kelce retires after this year, ring or not? Ring meaning Chiefs.
Yes, he looks a little older. He looks a little slower. I thought he might not play this year. I do think this is the last year for him.
Yes or no? And if you're not, how are you feeling about the Benito Bad Bunny Super Bowl announcement?
I'm indifferent. I think I saw him on the other night. Was it Saturday Night Live, where he was poking fun at myself and he goes, I'm so happy. Everyone's happy for me. There's no controversy. I thought he was really funny and really kind of self-deprecating. But as far as his music, I'm indifferent. I don't hate it. Don't love it. I'll watch it regardless because it's the Super Bowl, but I can't get up in arms in it like some people are, I guess.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to send you some Bad Bunny songs that you have to like learn before the Super Bowl, and then also send you some TikToks of some dances you also have to learn.
Okay.
Nafissa Collier putting the WNBA and its leadership on blast. Have you followed that saga storyline at all?
Yes, I think they need to figure their stuff out, because that's a league that people want to watch. It's trying to grow. I forget who it was. Somebody made the comparison. That league, their newfound popularity the last couple of years, it's like a teenager who outgrows their body too quick and their coordination doesn't catch up. They just grew so fast and they weren't ready for it. There's a lot of bickering and infighting. They just need to all sit down and say, you know what, we're all going to make a lot of money together. We got to stop with the jealousy, stop with the hate, and let's just put out a good basketball product, because there's just so much jealousy of, oh, this girl's making money and she drives ratings. No, she's why people watch. Your sport is growing. It's what you wanted for years. You're finally getting it. Embrace it. Don't try to turn people away. I think it turns a lot of people off. All the infighting, the controversy. I think it's a turnoff for a lot of people.
When I saw that Nafissa Collier press conference where she ripped the WNBA leadership to shreds, I'm not saying that it was right or wrong, because I mean I'm Team Fee, but the first thing I thought was, would this ever happen in current day NBA? I could not imagine LeBron, one of the biggest stars in the NBA, ripping Adam Silver to shreds, literally replaying some of their conversation. Now that was Fee's, perspective. We don't really know what was said, but recapping to the media a private conversation. I was like, damn, girl. Okay.
But the fact that private conversation took place, and I don't think she's lying, by the way. I think she's completely telling the truth. That doesn't sound like something that was made up. The fact that a commissioner thinks that, much less says it, and says it to one of her best players, my goodness, get your stuff together, WNBA.
I agree. Okay, couple more bold predictions for the bold predictions for the NBA season. NBA tips off in it's October the 7th, so we got like 3.5 weeks. What are your bold predictions? Before LeBron released that commercial today, I was going to be like, oh, you think LeBron's retiring? What do we think about that? Right.
That was cringe. I like LeBron. I know people hate on him just because he's, whatever. It's a generational thing. MJ's better, all that stuff. That was one where, come on, how much money do you need? Does everything have to be a commercial these days? I'll give you this one. I'll say the Sixers with Embiid. I don't know that it'll be healthy the full season, but I think they have enough talent where they can load manage Embiid and Maxey and McCain and some of the young players. I will say the Sixers make the conference finals. That's my bold take.
Wow. Okay, so I'm going to say right here and now, I'm going to fade the hell out of that pick. Anybody who has watched NBA, at least to me in the past X amount of years, especially since Embiid has been in the league, do not trust Embiid. The only thing you can trust Embiid to do is to not be healthy toward the end of the season. I don't think any amount of load management is going to get him to a conference. I don't know. I'm fading.
You're probably right. Have you seen him though? He looks thinner. I guess he's eating salads. He's taking his diet healthy. He's lost weight. Again, I deep down, aside from my bets and fandom, I root for all these guys. I don't want to see a guy with talented Embiid just not waste his career, because he's had a great career. He's made hundreds of millions of dollars, but he's better than he's shown. I think he's gotten out of shape. I root for most of these guys to just reach their potential, just because I think it's kind of sad when these guys don't reach their potential. I hope Embiid can have one season where he stays healthy, you can keep the weight off, and the Sixers make a semi-run. But you're probably right. Trusting Embiid, that's usually a bad bet.
And here's the last one, because you're on the side Lakers. I'm on Team Clippers. Who goes further in the playoffs? Lakers or the Clippers? Let's fight about it.
Who goes further in the playoffs? I will say the Lakers. Speaking of guys that lost weight, Luka looks pretty good. I don't love that roster. They don't have a lot of shooting. It's a weird roster. It's a weird mix between him and LeBron, old and new, and they both kind of overlap with handling the ball. But the Clippers have their issues too. I thought last year was a chance for them to make a run, and they just flamed out against Denver. They blew that game 4. They never should have lost. And then Denver just buried them in game 7. Just typical Clippers. Can't trust. I mean, speaking of guys you can't trust, Harden in a big spot you can't trust. So I'll say Lakers, just because I trust Luka more than anyone the Clippers has. I don't know. This is a whole different wormhole, rabbit hole. I don't know what the league does with this whole tree planting thing. It seems like they have them dead to rights, but what can you really do other than suspend Ballmer, suspend Frank, find him some money, which, I mean, taking money from Ballmer is like taking a comb from you or me. I don't know what you do. You could take maybe a pick or two, but I'll say the Lakers, just because I trust Luka more than I trust anyone on the Clippers. And LeBron is a sidekick. I think that's just more trustworthy than what the Clippers have. Clippers have a good roster, though.
We have a very geriatric roster.
Yes.
You know, no shade to geriatric folks out there, including myself. I'm a geriatric millennial, so whatever. Very old roster, probably statistically by age, the oldest roster in the league. I'm sure I could fact check it right now and confirm. But there's something to me very nostalgic about having CP3 back. Like you, I agree that you cannot trust James Harden in clutch time in the playoffs, but I'm going to back my Clippers here. I would never place a bet on that because I try not to bet on my teams. But you have to come back and visit us toward the end of the NBA season so we can see where we stand on Lakers versus Clippers.
Of course. We'll be happy to do it.
Okay, well, before we let you go, plug the hell out of everything that you're doing. Where can we find you? Your social, like where can we find you so we can follow and tell your bets and make some money by taking your advice?
Yep, on Twitter at not the Will Hill. There's an extra E with the so at not the Will Hill with an extra E. Should have bet more podcast. That's 3 words. Should have bet more. Fox Sports. You can catch all my columns 3 times a week, usually Monday, Thursday, Friday, and I'm around VSiN, and that's about it.
One last parting thought for our Front Porch fam for this very happy Tuesday.
Miami wins the college football national championship.
All right. Follow me at Erica Renee D. Thank you, Front Porch fam, for following us. We will see you next week. Hold on. Yay! Are you there, Will?
I'm here.
Yay!